Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Here I'm going to be doing this notebook set that's been pretty popular, trending on Instagram, TikTok, so I wanted to get on here and do it. And I'm also going to be showing my important supplies that I use for making my press-ons. So here I'm just getting my stand ready for my press-ons. I actually don't use the putty to adhere my tips to the stand. What I use is the double-sided tape, the same type of tape that you put the nails on for your display or for your shipping, because it just sticks better to the stand and it's way easier for the tips to come back off. So that's what I use double-sided tape for my stand. And I go ahead and I start off by etching the back of the tips. Not only does that adhere the tips best to the stand as well, but also better for when you're applying them to your natural nails. So I make sure I etch the back of all the tips. This step is so important. One time I actually forgot to etch the back of them, and I'm talking about my nails were coming off like in my sleep. So you want to make sure that you do all of the steps, but this is a very important step. So after you etch the back of them, just go ahead and dust them off and apply them to the stand. Okay, so now that the tips are applied to the stand, I go ahead and I do my next step, which is I do my overlay with this builder gel. And this builder gel is really the best builder gel that I've used. I just get it from Amazon and it is low-key expensive, but it goes a long way. I've used so many sets with just this one bottle, and this is the best gel that I've used for the overlays. And I do 2 coats of it. I cure between each coat for 30 seconds. And it is a self-leveling gel, so you want to be careful. You don't want to do too many tips and then try to put them in the oven, because the gel will run. So you want to make sure that you do like a couple of tips at a time and go ahead and cure those and then continue on with your other tips. Okay, so now we're getting the set out the oven, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna wipe off the inhibition layer, which is the sticky layer that you get from the gel. I'm just wipe that off with regular rubbing alcohol and a paper towel. I don't really use like any swipe or any like fancy anything like that to wipe off the sticky layer. The rubbing alcohol always works just fine. So I'll wipe off the tips thoroughly, and then I continue on with my next step. Alright, so now I'm applying my base coat, and this is what you want to use to adhere the gel polish to the nail, and this also adds an extra layer of strength to the tips. So this is my base coat step that I'm using, and I do this before I apply the gel. Okay, so here I cured it for 30 seconds. Now after it's all cured, let's go ahead and get into my favorite part, the designs. Now for this set, I did think about doing it in pink because, you know, pink is my favorite color, but I just did my set that I'm wearing right now. I did that in pink, so I didn't want to do another pink set. This set that I'm going to do is going to be a French, but I'm going to use a nude, and I just chose one of my really good nude polishes. I have a lot of nudes, so I just chose one that I thought would look good with the blue and with the white. And I just go ahead and I add 2 coats of the nude polish, and I cure it 30 seconds in between each coat. Okay, so now I'm done with the cover color. I'm gonna go in with my white gel striper to get the outline for my French, and I use this striper to give me the guide of where I want my French, and so I can kind of line them up with the other nails and see where my French is each time. And once I do that, I cure it for 30 seconds. I go in with my full cover white gel polish, and I do 2 coats of that to finish the French, and I cure each coat for 30 seconds. Okay, so my French is done. Now I'm starting off with the actual notebook design. I'm using my blue striper for this, and I just do straight lines all the way across. Now these are duck nails, so it was hard to keep that same consistency of the gel polish all the way across the tip. So I did end up having to turn the set upside down and kind of go backwards a little bit. Alright, and now for the next part of the design is that vertical line. You can use pink or red. I'm using my fuchsia gel polish striper, and you can pick either side. I just chose the side, and you go ahead and do that vertical line down and you cure that. Alright, so now I'm going to put on my charms, and lately I have been applying them with acrylic. So I just like to put the charms that I'm using and kind of like place them on the nails so I can get a good idea of how I'm going to set them on, because you are going to let the acrylic set up. And I get my acrylic ready. I like to use the beaker to sort of measure the monomer that I'm putting in. That way I don't feel like I'm wasting too much monomer. I do close my jar tightly, but it still finds a way to evaporate. So you don't want to put more monomer in than you need, more liquid than you need. So the beaker kind of helps to eliminate that. It kind of can measure it in as opposed to just pouring it in. And then for my charms, I just use my clear fast setting acrylic and go ahead and I use these paper towels that I use. These are specifically absorbent paper towels, not just regular paper towels. So you want to get the most absorbent towels you can get for the acrylic. And I just go ahead and put the clear bead of acrylic on there, put the charm on, let it set up. After I place my brush down on the napkin to get the liquid to go where I want it to, then I put that bead on there with the charm, and then it kind of still gives me time to move the charm around a little bit before it sets up so I can put it exactly where I want. Another important thing is you don't want to put it back down. You don't put the nail back down on the stand before it's set up because it will move around. So you want to give it that time to set up before you place it down. Okay, now that I'm done with my acrylic, I clean out my brush thoroughly by dipping it into the monomer, and I do have brush cleaner that I soak it in on the side. And go ahead and remove the towel as well because you don't want to breathe in any of those toxins. Just go ahead, throw that away, clean off your station, and then that's when I like to file. I file at the end when all my work is done. That's when the nail is the sturdiest. When I file, I use my e-file and just go clean the tip up a little bit to give it that duck shape that I really want. Alright, I am done filing and I brushed away the dust. Here is the finished product. I'm so happy with the way it came out. I have more pictures on my Instagram, so don't forget to subscribe and to follow. Be on the lookout for more installs. Thanks for watching.